Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. In this video I'd like to show you how to make the square Spiro Star designed by Helen Shrimpton. For this square I'm using Spiro stonewashed yarn and a 3.5mm crochet hook. I'll take you step by step through the rounds that make up this square. Thank you for watching and I hope it's a useful video for you. Round 1. I'm going to start with a slip knot, chain 4, and then I'm going to close with a slip stitch. 2, 3, and 4. If you prefer, also do a magic ring here, that's perfectly fine also. Then in this little circle we're going to work 16 double crochets. Start with a chain 3. This is the first double crochet, counts as the first double crochet. Open up the ring. On the inside, in that little hole there, I'm going to work 15 more double crochets. So in that hole, the first one, and usually after you have the first or the second one done, it becomes easier. So you've now done 2, I'm going to work 15, 3, 14, and then the last one here is number 15, and it's now a little full. I'll give you that. 15 double crochets and that chain 3. You can cut your yarn, and I'm going to close with an invisible join. So just to show you exactly what I'm doing, let's go zoom in a little bit more. On the stitch, here's a chain 3, on the stitch next to it, insert my hook in there, pick up the yarn, pull through, then the stitch at the last stitch where we just completed is going to go through that back loop and pull the yarn through. And now I've made an invisible join there. That completes round 1. We now have in total 16 double crochets. Round 2. I have a new color yarn on my hook with a slip knot, and we're going to start in any stitch, doesn't matter which stitch, and we're going to start with a standing double crochet. So just yarn over and hold on to that. Then in any stitch make a standing double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and then work a double crochet. We're going to skip that stitch and then go to the next. Skip one to the next and work a double crochet. We're going to repeat this chain 3 and then a double crochet till the end, so till we're all the way around. Chain 3, skipping the next stitch, that one, skip that, on the stitch after, again work a double. And again chain 3, 2, 3, skip one stitch and work a double. So continue like this all the way around. So in every second stitch you're working a double crochet, and you have chain 3s in between. Skipping a stitch and a double crochet. At this point you should have one stitch left before we're back to the beginning. So it's chain 3. Going to skip this last stitch here and then close on the first standing stitch. So in the top of that stitch, close there with a slip stitch. Then this, oops, I've just lost that little loop. Let me just get my hook back in there. But as such, you're now finished with the, well, I'll do it in a moment. As such, you're now finished with round 2. You can continue with the same color for round 3. Round 3. This round we're only going to be working in the chain 3 spaces, so in those chain 3 spaces that we made. We're going to work basically a flower petal in there. So in the next chain 3 space, because you're currently here in that double crochet, so in the next one, and while I'm doing so I'm actually just going to work over this yarn tail from round 2, so I'm just going to connect it as I go. A single crochet, a half double, a double, a half double, and a single. Everything in the same chain 3 space, and a single. Everything in that same space. We're now going to skip the double crochet you have and then move on to the next chain 3 space where you're going to do exactly the same as you did here. So in the next chain 3 space, single crochet, half double, double crochet, a half double, and a single. We've now worked 2 flower petals. I'm going to do this in each flower petal, so all the way around. When you hit to your first stitch, close on that single crochet, that first single crochet, close there with a slip stitch. Then you can cut your yarn and work away your tails. Round 4, I'm going to use the same color that I used for the center. I'm going to start with a standing single crochet in the half double, the first half double of any of these flower petals. So this is the single crochet, that's the half double, and that's the double. So that first stitch, that's that half double, work a single crochet in that stitch. Next stitch, which will be the double crochet that's up top, you work 2 singles. And then the stitch after, that's again the half double, you work 1 single. So you've now done 4 stitches in those center 3 stitches on the flower petal. What we're now going to do is we're going to come down, and in the stitch that we skipped from round 1, that stitch there, going to work a treble in there. And you're going to have to slightly bend your work to make that, just to get your hook in there. I'm going to go twice over for the treble, then into that stitch, and you can see how I just have to bend my work to really get into that stitch. Hook up, and work 1, 2, 3 times, and that's a treble. You can see that treble there. Now I'm going to go on to the next chain 1 or single crochet that you've skipped here, this one here, that double crochet that you skipped. I'm going to work a treble in there. So again, twice over, and then in the next one, and this one's going to be easier because it's forward. Work 1, 2, 3 stitches. I'm going to skip 2 stitches to the back. So these 2 trebles, we're going to skip 2 stitches, and those are basically going to be the single crochets on either side. That last single and this first single, we're going to skip those 2. The next stitch is again going to be the half double. And in that half double, you work a single crochet. And then that single is exactly the same one as the first one we made when we started. So these stitches here, this is our repeat unit that we're going to do all the way around. I'll show you the repeat once more. So the repeat started with this single crochet here. Then on the next one, that's the double, we work 2 in there. And the next one, again, 1 single. That's the half double crochet. We're now going to come down and work a treble. And that treble is going to work here next to and into the stitch that already contains this first leg, this first treble. It's going to work a treble in there again, a second one. It's going to be twice over. Then I need folding my work again to really get into that stitch, complete the treble. 2, 3, twice over, and then in the next space where you skip the stitch, from round 1, work a treble. Now you've again completed 2 trebles. Skipping 2 stitches from the back, so you have skipping those 2 stitches there, work a single. And this single is again the start of the next repeat unit. You can now see how I've done 2 of these units with you. I'm going to repeat this on all of these flower petals. And you get to your first single crochet, close there with a slip stitch, then don't cut because we use the same color in the next round. Round 5, I'm going to use the same color yarn. So you're currently in that first single crochet from round 4, you're in there with a slip stitch. Chain 1. This does not count as a stitch, it's just to get you to the correct height. Then in the same stitch, work 2 single crochets. 1, 2. So this is all in that same stitch that already has the slip stitch in it. Then a single crochet on the next 2 stitches. That's 1 and 2, and then again 2 single crochets on the next. It's 1 and 2. To make it easy to remember, you've got 4 single crochets here between the trebles. So you work 2 on the first, so it's 2, 1, 1, 2. That's the rhythm that you have here. So you've worked 2 in that first stitch, then 1, 1, so in this 1, 1, and then 2 again in the 4th stitch. So that's the rhythm you're following. Next up are these 2 trebles you have here that we made in row 4. We're going to make a front post single crochet around these 2 trebles, and actually around both of them. So front post around both of these, that kind of brings them together, a single crochet. Kind of really ties your start together. And this is the repeat unit. This you're going to do all the way round. So I'll show you the repeat once more. So the next stitch is this first single crochet, and you might actually really have to look for it. It's really hidden behind this single crochet here. So if you look, so pull it a little bit to the side if you need to. That stitch there. This is the one you want. I'm going to work 2 singles in the 1 stitch, then 1 single, 1 single, and then 2 and 2. Now bringing the next tip together again, so these around the post of both of these, so under both of them, bring them together with a single crochet. It's to repeat 2 times. Just once more for good measure, pulling it to the side, your first stitch work, first single crochet work, 2 singles, 1 in the next, 1 in the next, and 2 in the last one. Then around both trebles, tie them together by doing a front post single crochet. I've now done the repeat 3 times with you. You're going to do exactly the same on these other stitches. Then on your first single crochet, close on that with a slip stitch. Round 6, new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start in the first single crochet on this little petal here. Just open up. You see here's the front post single crochet. That's that stitch that you did around this to make the star. You don't want that one. You want the one next to it. So this stitch here. Now we're going to make a back post stitch. So we're actually going to go around the post of that single crochet. And we're going to do a back post half double crochet, so around that first stitch there, that first single crochet. So yarn over and hold on to it. And then that first one is always just a little tricky. The back post half double crochet around that first stitch there. I'm going to do a back post half double around the next 5 stitches also. So these are all 6 stitches that you've got on this flower petal. That's 3, and this one, and then the last one is this last single crochet in here. So now you'll have 6 in total. There we go. That's the standing plus 5. So you've now done 5 back post half double crochets. So you've done 6 back post half double crochets. Next stitch is the front post single crochet that you have here around these the points of the star. Around that front post you're again going to do another front post half double. Yarn over, so around that stitch, this time from the front, because you want to work a front post stitch. Around that single crochet, work a front post half double. This is your repeat unit. You're going to do this all the way round. I'll show you the repeat once more. The next stitch, and that's again going to be hard to find because it's kind of fallen behind this half double here. Your first single crochet you want to make a back post single crochet, and you're really going to have to just fold your work open to make sure that you don't miss that one. That's the first one of 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. 6 back post half double crochets. Next up is the single crochet that's again bringing your star together, and around this you do a front post. So again, around the front that stitch work a front post half double. Now done the repeat 2 times. You have to do this on all the other sides here also, and close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. Round 7, you're currently in that first standing back post half double crochet. From round 6, I'm going to do chain 1. This does not count as a stitch, and in the same single crochet, in the same stitch, we're going to make a single crochet. So in that same half double, just need to get in there properly because that slip stitch is already kind of taking up space. There you go. In that first stitch there, just have to wrestle it a little bit because of that slip stitch that's already in there. So in that first stitch, make a single crochet also. The next stitch, a half double. The next stitch, 2 double crochets, and 2, and in the next stitch also 2 double crochets, and 2. Stitch after a half double, and the last stitch on the petal a single. So you can see that this is again symmetric. Single, half double, 2 doubles, 2 doubles, half double, single. That's how you work that flower petal there. Going to skip the next stitch. That's going to be this front post half double from round 6, and this group that you've just done, you're going to do that on the next group also. So skipping this half double here, show the repeat once more. So on the next stitch, that's a single, one half double, 2 doubles, and on the next stitch also 2 doubles, followed by 1 half double on the next, and a single on the last one. And this you're going to repeat on all of these flower petals. So it's a single, half double, 2 doubles, 2 doubles, half double, single. Repeat that on all these other flower petals also, and close on your first stitch. So that's going to be that first single crochet, close on there with a slip stitch. Round 8. This round we're going to be extending this flower petal that we have here. We're going to be extending that further. Currently you're in that first single crochet of the group, and in this group we're going to work a single, half double, double, 2 doubles, 2 doubles, double, half double, single. I'll show you the group going around. Quickly start with a chain 1. This is not a stitch, just to get you to the correct height. Now let's start the first group. So in that first single crochet, there's a stitch that also has the slip stitch join. Work a single crochet, then 1 half double. On the next work a double. On the next you work 2 doubles. So take note, 2 doubles. And 2. The next stitch 2 doubles. 1 and 2. Stitch after you work a double, so only 1. Next stitch work a half double, and your next stitch should be the last stitch of the petal, that single crochet here. Work a single on that. You can see how you've now extended your flower petal. We're now going to come down and work a front post double crochet around this front post from round 6, this front post half double. Remember we skipped that, so now you're going to work around that stitch. So you're going to work a front post double crochet around this. You see there's the half double, so just going to hook around it and work a front post double crochet. This is our repeat unit. I'm going to do this all the way round. I'll show you the repeat once more. Now what's especially important when you go from one repeat to the next is this first single crochet. You need that stitch there, but your front post that you just made is kind of falling over it, so you're going to miss it. So really see how I'm folding my work back, and that stitch there, that one, that's the one I need. But your front post will fall over it, so be sure to really check for that stitch. So the first stitch is the single crochet, followed by a half double, a double crochet. Next one you work 2 doubles, so 1 and 2. Next one again 2 doubles and 2. Next stitch work 1 double, a half double, and the last one is this last single crochet. That's always a checkpoint there. That is your single crochet. And if this doesn't work out, if you've one stitch short here, for example your half double is in that last stitch, then you must probably accidentally skip your first stitch. So that's the petal, and then again a front post double around this one from round 6, this half double from round 6. That's a repeat 2 times. Repeat this on all your other stitches also. And after you've made your last front post double crochet here around this half double, close with a slip stitch on your first stitch. Round 9, going to extend our flower petals yet again 1 row further. Chain 1, this does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to make a group of stitches that you're going to be repeating on every flower petal. In the first stitch, which is the same one as the slip stitch join, work a single, 1 half double on the next, 1 double on the next, then on the next 4 stitches, so those are your center 4 stitches, going to work 2 doubles on each. So this is once, the next one again work 2, this is twice, next one work 2, this is 3 times, and the next one work 2, this is 4 times. The next stitch work 1 double followed by 1 half double, and on the last stitch, that single crochet, work a single on there. This you're going to repeat on every petal. Show you once more. We're going to skip the next stitch, that's this front post double crochet, going to skip that stitch. Then in the next stitch, which is a single, work a single, next one work a half double, next one work a double, and now comes those 4 times 2 doubles. So that's 1, and 2, and 3 times, and here is 4 times. Next one work 1 double, sorry. Then work 1 half double, and on the last one at single crochet work a single. You're going to skip the the front post double, and on the next stitch, which is single, you start the next petal. I've now done 2 petals with you. Do this on your others also, and close on your first single crochet. Round 10, we're going to start on any flower petal in the second stitch. We're going to start in there with a back post half double crochet. So you see here's the first stitch, that's the first one, that's single crochet, so you're going for that second one, that's the half double. You're going to do a back post half double on that. So around the post, there you go. That's the first of 12, because we're now going to do 11 more back post half doubles along the entire petal. So continue, do a back post half double on all of these stitches. We're going to leave the last stitch, that's the single crochet for the petal, you're going to leave that unworked. Going to do 11 more with the standing one we started with, that's 12. Two more to do, this one, and actually I've got 3 more to do, so now I've got 2 to do. See that single crochet, that's the last one, you're not going to work that one. So this half double here is my last stitch. Now I should have done 12. Let me just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12. Yes, you've got 12 back post half double crochets. We're now going to work maybe one of the trickiest stitches of this pattern. We're going to work a front post triple treble, and we're going to do that in front here of the petal where we're currently at. So what we're going to do is we're going to work that front post treble in these stitches from round 6. So those are the stitches that you made this back post stitches here. We're going to use the third one. So you see that 1, 2, 3. So this here is the third stitch. So around that position there, I'm going to work a front post triple treble. Let me just hook up my yarn again. Now a triple treble, when you're in doubt how many loops you need, remember once over is a double crochet, twice over is a treble crochet, another time over is a double treble, and another time over is a triple treble. So you've now done 4 times yarn over. So if you don't remember, you just can count your loops one by one. Going to take that, fold your work, because you really need to go into that third stitch of the that I showed you from round 6. You're going to have to fold your work to get into that stitch. Pick up the yarn and then take off 2 loops at a time. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to keep my work close together because I don't want this first loop to open up too much. Otherwise that does happen. So you're going to take off 2 loops at a time. See how it's going. And I'm really keeping this loop as small as I can, but it always does open up just a little bit. That's almost inevitable. You see that loop has opened up a bit relative to the others, but it could be much worse. So that is my first front post triple treble. You're now going to work another front post triple treble, but now in coming to the petal that's in front of you. Again in the third stitch, so it's the same position there. You see that's number 1, 2, 3. On that stitch you're again going to work a front post triple treble. So again, double crochet, treble crochet, double treble, triple treble. It's 4 times over. It's 1, 2, 3, that third stitch around that post. Hook up my yarn and take off 2 loops at a time. 2, 3, 4, and you're going to do it 5 times in total. Now you've done 2 triple trebles. Going to skip 2 stitches at the back, and that's going to be basically the last single crochet and the first single crochet of either petal, so of this one and the next one. So those 2 stitches going to skip there, and the next one is the half double here. Going to work a back post half double on that, and then this back post half double is the same one as the one that we just started with. There we go. So that stitch is exactly the same one as the standing stitch here. So this is the repeat unit you're going to do all the way around. When you get to the first stitch, you're going to close with that on a slip stitch. I'm going to show you the repeat one more time, especially these triple trebles. It's maybe a good idea if I show you them once more. But first you need to work all these back post half doubles. Just on the first one you need to work 12. So this here is number 2, 3, continue until we have 12. Number 11, yes, 11 and 12. And you see that single crochet is still left, you're going to leave that unworked. 12. When in doubt, count your stitches. You should have 12 back post half double crochets. We're now going to come back and work a front post triple treble again, and it's going to work it around the same stitch where you already have this one here. So around that same stitch, so they're going to have to share that position. And we're going to do that by again first doing 4 times yarn over. So 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. Fold your work. And then around that stitch, and I'm actually going to do it to the back. So the one we already have is in the front, and the new one I'm making is to the back of that. And around that stitch, and then take off 2 loops 5 times. Oops, don't want to do that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And really do fold your work and hold your stitches so that nothing happens to that loop, and that you can make these take off 2 loops part, that you really do that neatly. Now we're going to come forward again and work the next one on the next petal. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4 times yarn over. 1, 2, 3, that 3rd stitch there, around the post, hook up, and then take off 2 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. This completes the 2nd repeat unit. I'm just going to skip 2 stitches at the back again. You can see those, if you just open this up, those 2 stitches you're skipping. It's the first and the last single crochet either side, and the next one, the half double, you're going to work the back post half double on. It's going to be this one here around that post. There we go. And now this is the repeat unit done twice. Just started the 3rd one. Do all of this on all the other petals also, and close here on this first one with a slip stitch. You're going to do that after you've done this last front post triple treble here. So you work a triple treble on this side, then you work it on that side, and then you close with the slip stitch. So be mindful, don't forget your last triple treble. Round 11, you're currently in the first standing, there you go, half double crochet from round 10. I'm going to start by doing a chain 1. That's just to get you to the correct height. This is not a stitch. And then in the same position, that same stitch that already has the slip stitch, work a single crochet. Now I'm going to work 4 more on the next stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That means 5 single crochets in total. Work 2 on the next. That's 1, 2, and on the next also. 1 and 2. So on these top 2 stitches you've worked an increase on both. Then come down and work a single crochet on the next 5 stitches. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Your next stitch will be the front post triple treble, this one here. What we're now going to do is we're actually going to work on both of them. We're going to grab them together with a front post double crochet. So that's once over just for the front post double crochet, and then hook up around both of them and bring together and work a double crochet. And this kind, and if you want to, you just may have to just fashion that a little bit, that you really get the nice star shape that you're going for here. This is your repeat unit, these stitches. I'll show you the repeat once more, because what's especially important when you go to the next repeat is that you need to work in that first stitch, but you can kind of see your double crochet you just made, your front post kind of falling over it, over there. So in that little stitch, that stitch there, so make sure you don't miss that stitch. It's the first single crochet, and you're going to work 5 singles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next 2 stitches going to work 2 in each. It's 1, 2 singles and 1, 2 singles. On the next stitches work a single on each. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Your next stitches should again be the 2 triple trebles. To work a front post double crochet around both of them. So we're going to grab them together and complete front post double crochet. Now I'm going to repeat twice with you on this one and that one. On the next flower petals do exactly the same, and after this last front post double crochet, close on your first single with a slip stitch. Round 12, I have a new color yarn on my hook, and we're going to start on any one of these front post stitches that we have from round 11. So around that stitch, make a front post treble around the front post double crochet. Now the first one is going to be standing, so it's twice over, and then kind of hold that onto your hook. Around that front post double crochet, I'm going to start with a standing front post treble. Take off 1, 2, 3 times. Now on the next 14 stitches, those are these stitches that are here in between until you get to the next front post. These 14 stitches are going to work a series of back post stitches on there. I'm going to start with the back post double crochet on the first one. That first one is always just a little tricky. That's one. Going to work 3 back post doubles. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Continue with 2 back post half doubles. So that's 1 back post half double and 2 back post half doubles. 4 back post singles. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. 2 back post half doubles. 1 and 2. You should have 3 stitches left, and that's 3 back post doubles. You can see how this is symmetrical what you're doing. This 1, 2, and the last one, number 3. Our next stitch is again this front post double crochet we have here. Around that we're going to do a front post treble. So it's twice over and around that stitch work a front post treble. That's 1, 2, 3. This front post treble here is exactly the same as the one we started with, that one there. So everything you've done here, these 14 stitches and that front post, you're going to repeat that on your next petal and do the front post, etc. Go all the way around. After this last back post double crochet, close on there with a slip stitch. Don't cut your yarn because the next round we'll be using the same color. Round 13. In this round we're going to be making the corner. I'm going to start with a chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This counts as your first treble. Now I'm going to do a second treble in the same stitch, so that's this front post stitch where you're currently in. It's twice over in the same stitch. Make a treble. Now I'm going to do a picot. So that's chain 3. And then we're going to do a slip stitch in that first of these 3 chain stitches. So going back to the first one, close there with a slip stitch. And that kind of makes you a little circle, a little round there. Now I'm going to go to the next stitch. That's going to be that first double crochet. In there, make 2 trebles. And 2. That's your first corner made. Now I'm going to work a straight edge between the corners. On the first 5 stitches, work a double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's 5 double crochets. 3 half doubles. Your line's becoming smaller. 3 half doubles. And now 12 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 11, and the last one, number 12. See how it now brings you to the other side of the center here. So I'm going to work symmetrical on either side. So 3 half doubles, 2, 3 half doubles, and then 5 double crochets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one, number 5. Now we're at a point, you see this and that point, we're going to make a corner again. So your next stitch, I'm going to make a new corner. The next stitch is the treble here. I'm going to do a treble in there. I'm going to do 2 trebles actually. It's 1 and 2 trebles, a picot, so it's chain 3, then come back to the first chain, so fold back on yourself, in that chain make a slip stitch. It kind of forms a little circle there. On the next stitch, which is the first double crochet, work 2 trebles in there. So 1 and 2, and then this corner is exactly the same as that corner. So what you've just done on this edge, do this over here, then work a corner, then another edge and a corner, and come back up and work your last edge here, then close on your chain 4, and then you're ready for the next round. Round 14. You're currently in that chain 4 that you started the previous round with. You're going to do a chain 3. This is your first double crochet. If you want to, feel free to do here a standing double crochet. In the next stitch, that's the last one before the picot, also do a double crochet. Your next stitch is going to be the picot, and we're actually going to be working in the picot. Now that means in here somewhere you need to make a stitch. Now in theory there's a little loop in there, and if you just kind of punch your hook in there, you'll find it somewhere. And if you don't find it exactly, no, it's not a crisis where exactly you put your stitch in here. So just kind of find that space and just punch your hook in. And then when you've got the first one in, you need to do 2 more, and they will be easier. So in that same place, then do 2 more. So you're going to do 3 double crochets in that picot. So just kind of punch your hook in there. And these 3 double crochets, that's your new corner. And also the start of the repeat unit. On the straight edge, start with 4 double crochets, and that first one here is of course on the treble. It's 4 doubles, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Half doubles on the next 3. It's 1, 2, and 3. And on the next 18 stitches, going to do a single crochet. So that's a whole stretch. This is the first one of 18. So that's 1, 2, 3, 17, and number 18. Half double on the next 3. 2, 3. You should have at this point 4 stitches left. I'm going to work a double crochet on each of those. It's 1, 2, 3. That's 4 double crochets. The next stitch is the picot again, and in there we're going to do 3 doubles. So again, kind of punching your hook somewhere in there, in the middle. Kind of try to find a space. It's 1, 2, and 3 doubles. And these 3 are exactly the same as those 3 doubles we did on that side. So what you just did on this edge, do this on the other 3. When you come here on your last side, your last repeat's not going to need those last 2 double crochets. So after you do 2 doubles, close on the chain 3. Then I'll see you for the next round. Round 15, chain 1. This does not count as a stitch. Then in the same stitch, so that's this stitch here that contains the slip stitch join, make a half double. On the next stitches, also make a half double. That's going to be the next 3 stitches. So that's the next 2 stitches. 2 half doubles. Your next stitch is the center of your corner stitch, these 3 stitches here. That center one, you're going to make your new corner in there. It's going to be 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 half doubles, and 2. And that's in that second of those 3 stitches that you made into the picot. And that's going to be your new corner there. And on the straight edge, basically doing a half double crochet on every stitch. On the next stitch, it's going to be this one here, is the first one of 34. It's 1, 2, 33, and 34. And the next stitch is again the second of these 3 corner stitches, and in there you're going to make a new corner. So that's 2 half doubles, chain 2, and 2 more half doubles, all in that second corner stitch. And this corner is exactly the same as that corner. So on your next edge you work a half double on each, and in your work your corners, go all the way around and close here on your first half double crochet. Round 16, last round. I have a new color yarn on my hook. I'm going to start in any stitch before the chain 2 corner space. So in that stitch before the corner, I'm going to make a standing half double crochet in there. We're up to the corner, which is 2 half doubles, chain 2 and 2 half doubles. Onto the next edge, which is a half double in every stitch across. So on each stitch you're going to do a half double. Be mindful of the first stitch. You see that little stitch there, that will be kind of hidden by your chain 2 space. So that's actually your second stitch. In there is the first one. See that there is your first stitch that I just opened up. So be sure to get into that stitch also. That's your first stitch. And then work a half double on each. When you get to your next corner, work a new one with in your chain 2 space, which is 2 half doubles, chain 2 and 2 half doubles. Continue like this, go all the way around. When you get to your first stitch, close on there with a slip stitch. When you've finished your last round, this is what your square looks like. You'll see it's very wonky and wobbly, so you'll really have to block the square out to get it nice and flat. And when you've finished blocking your square, this is what it looks like, nice and flat and a square shape. Bring us to the end of this instruction video. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again for a new project.